In the next 6 months, one of two things will happen. You made the right hire in the next 90 days, and the biggest constraint of your business starts running without you. Growth that felt stuck now starts moving. Or you didn't, and everything stays exactly where it is. I've seen both play out across founders with all kinds of businesses, from small businesses to ones that were running 8 figures. And here's the thing, the ones that stay stuck is not because they can't find talent, it's because they keep circling the decision instead of committing to one. Delaying a hire you already know is necessary, that's not caution, that's a decision you make. And every decision has a cost. Every quarter you delay, it compounds. The work doesn't disappear, and it just sits on your plate. So just 6 to 9 months ago, I was in this similar trap. And I was basically still doing my administrative tasks day in and day out. I was still scheduling appointments in my calendar. I was still sending that message via WhatsApp to my team, asking them, how's this project? Tomorrow it's due, how are things moving? And all these other administrative tasks that I was still kind of doing day in and day out. But the truth is, when I stepped back, I did the math. So if let's say I was somebody that was doing $100,000 a year, my buyback rate would be about $50 an hour. So you just take your annual rate, divide by 2,000, right? That would give you a buyback rate. And I could simply hire somebody, whether it's a virtual assistant or executive assistant, for $15 to $20 an hour and get this task off my plate. So can you imagine this? If I had that much time bought back, I could potentially be bringing the company or earning revenue of about $100,000 to $200,000 more by spending time on these strategic tasks instead of the admin ones. So think about the role that you've been circling for the last 3 to 6 months, the one that you keep saying you'll fill when the time is right, and how much of your current workload belongs to that role, because that is what the delay of this hire will cost you. Vague hiring intentions produce vague hiring outcomes. The moment you force yourself to answer this one specific question, that is, which single hire would create the most leverage right now, your decision becomes clear. So after coaching 300 plus founders, I realized that they all face one common problem, which was they found that actually technical hires were easy, but hiring for simple roles were one of the toughest things that they had to let go of. That was exactly where I was in a couple of months ago, because when I wanted to start on my content creation journey, I wanted to do this 90-day content sprint thing, I realized that there were just too many things on my plate today that didn't allow me to do what I wanted to do. So I asked myself one question, what do I want to do more of, and what do I need to get off my plate today? I did a simple exercise called the time and energy audit, where I listed down every task that was on my plate and allocated time spent, my energy, as well as the impact to the business. And once I had done that, I had a very clear picture, what was the task that I needed to get off my plate, today. So if you want to have clear intentions when you're hiring, answer this right now. If you could hire only one person in the next 90 days, which level needs it most? Is it admin, operations, marketing, sales, or leadership? Identify the level, write one goal, and don't move on until you have done it. So, the clearest way to justify a hire is to list what currently lives on your plate that shouldn't. Every task you're doing that belongs to someone else is a tax on your time, your energy, and your highest value work. So after I made that hire, what happened was that things like calendar scheduling, meeting minutes, project tracking, these were all taken off my plate, and I could now focus on what really mattered for me to grow the business and move the needle. Right? So I was able to now do things like creating content, focusing on building systems within the business, as well as strategy work. Right? So if you imagine if I had done this 6 months ago, what that would have looked like. Now write down everything you did last week that this hire would take over immediately. Be specific, not categories, but actual tasks, because that will be the job description for the role. Now I've got a 6-month question that forces you to think in outcomes, not activities. It's not about filling the position, it's about what the business becomes, when the role is properly owned by the right person. So before I made that hire, I was the A&E department. I was approving everything from small decisions like ads approval to bigger ones like project launches. Right? There was no single source of truth, and the team was coming to me for everything. After I made the hire, the teams were now able to make independent decisions on their own. Projects were launching on time, and the team was a whole lot happier. And of course, business grew. So now answer this. What would change in your business in 6 months if this hire was in place today? So write down 3 specific outcomes, not feelings, not hope. Is it concrete business changes, revenue, capacity, client experience, or even team stability? Because that's what you're delaying if you don't make that hire. So intending to make a hire and actually making one are two very different things. Because the moment you get clear on the role, build the profile and put a 90-day deadline on it. Because that is when it becomes a real commitment. So most founders I know simply post and they wait. Now that's a pray and hope approach. Now what I did was with one specific profile, I locked in a 90-day goal and set a hard deadline. So I posted on my socials, I tapped on my network, and I asked for referrals and did whatever I would as if I was launching a new product. Right now, before the video ends, write down the role, list the specific outcome that the hire must own in 90 days, and set a date by which this role needs to be filled. Not posted, filled. Sign it if you have to, because that commitment is worth more than any strategy. You've now got the decision framework. One role, one hire, one 90-day deadline. So you have no excuse now. Because once that person is in the door, the real work begins. So click here for the next step.